what are the life hacks you are implementing in your own life? Are you taking rapamycin, and what lifestyle interventions do you practice? Sure.
So I'm pretty. I tend to think that being simple and focusing on the basics is the best bet. So again, And I'm not a huge fan of supplements, as you can probably tell, because I don't think there's a lot out there that's guaranteed to work. So what I do is I do resistance training pretty regularly. I think that's really important. I think maintaining muscle mass with age is probably the most important thing, other than not dying, that you can do if you want to live a long and healthy life. So I do resistance training. I do regular, cardiovascular exercise is sort of my second priority in exercise. I try to eat a relatively healthy diet. And what I mean by that is, again, it's not nothing magic, right? It's cut out the highly processed foods, cut out the simple sugars, and don't eat too much. And, that's what I try to do. And I'm not always successful, but I also believe in, not being over the top about trying to eat a perfect diet. I like to have fun. I like to go out to dinner sometimes. But that's the strategy I take with diet and maintain a healthy weight. And then I have taken rapamycin cyclically off and on for a few years. It's actually been a few months since I've taken it, because I'm kind of waiting. I've gotten into this sort of, it's kind of like a quantified self mode where I'm trying to measure lots of things. And so I'm waiting to give myself a good baseline before I start my next cycle of rapamycin, just to see what are the changes, if any, that I see. But I have taken rapamycin cyclically multiple times. My perception has been that it's been beneficial, but I'm a scientist. I can't prove it. It's an N of 1 experiment.
So obviously no bad effects on building mass for you. I mean, you are in great shape.
I mean, I can say I've gained muscle while taking it, right? Again, I can't say that I wouldn't have gained more muscle if I hadn't taken it, but it hasn't prevented me from building muscle. Yeah.
And I agree with you. Just a comment on the calorie restriction. I think this is, again, an individual question. Maintaining a healthy weight is important. And if calorie restriction brings you there, it's great. But I have a very similar longevity strategy to the one you use. And so I practice strength training and a low carbohydrate diet. What I mean with a low carbohydrate diet, I don't eat processed carbohydrates and sugar.
Right.
And so for me, it's actually important to maximize the opportunity to get nutritious food every time I eat. So I don't practice fasting. I don't practice calorie restriction. Otherwise, I would actually probably lose too much weight and too much muscle mass. So I think this is, again, a very individual. I think for people who exercise and do many longevity interventions like we do, then adding calorie restriction may be productive.
Yeah.
One last question.
Let me just clarify one thing that I said, because I don't want to. I didn't mean to give the impression that caloric restriction can't be beneficial for some people. I agree with you completely. If getting to a healthy weight, if caloric restriction or intermittent fasting or strategies like that help people get to a healthy weight, that's fantastic, right? The point that I want to make is I think that the idea that caloric restriction is always beneficial in the context of aging, even the preclinical literature doesn't support that. And I think that it could be harmful for some people, and that is greatly thinking back to this risk-reward ratio, that risk is actually, I believe, greatly underappreciated, because I think it can be quite harmful for some people.
Hey, would you like to know how to use food as medicine for your genes? Get access to my free webinar using the link in the video description. I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and if you